Chapter 5, Mishnah 3. The Mishnah now teaches a law about Nazirus that Beis Hillel used as a proof against Beis Shammai in their previous dispute. If someone vowed to be a Nazir but later decided that he had not made the vow correctly, and then thinking that he had not become a Nazir, he drank wine, but he then asked a sage, and the sage ruled that his vow of Nazirus actually was binding, and he was forbidden to drink wine, this person counts as Nazirus starting from the time he made the vow. And even the days on which he drank wine count towards his term, since at the time he drank the wine, he did not realize he was a Nazir. If he asked a sage, and the sage released him from the vow, because he ruled that the vow was indeed not made properly and never took effect, but before asking the sage, he had assumed that he was a Nazir, and he had already set aside, i.e. consecrated animals to be brought for his conclusion offerings, these animals can go out and graze with the rest of the flock. Since he consecrated them only because he mistakenly thought he was a Nazir, they did not become holy. The law we just learned is accepted by everyone. Beis Hillel now used this law to challenge Beis Shammai's position in the previous two Mishnahs. Beis Hillel said to Beis Shammai, "Do you not agree in this case that it is a consecration based on a mistake, since the person consecrated the animals only because he thought he was a Nazir? And yet the law is that the animals go out and graze with the rest of the flock because their consecration did not take effect. This shows that when a person consecrates something based on a mistake, it does not become holy." Instead of responding to Beis Hillel's question, Beis Shammai bring proof to their own position from the law of Ma'aser Behemah, the animal tithe. Every year, a person must set aside 1/10 of all the animals born in his flock or herd that year and bring them as offerings in the temple. This is done in the following manner. The animals born that year are gathered into a pen with a narrow entrance. The door to the pen is opened, and the animals are let out one by one. As they pass through the entrance, the owner counts them. When the 10th one passes through, the owner taps it with a stick that has red paint on it and says, "This is the 10th." This sanctifies that animal as an offering. He then counts the next 10, continuing until all the animals have passed through. Now, the law is that if the person counted wrong and called the 9th animal the 10th, or the 11th animal the 10th, that animal becomes consecrated as well. Beis Shammai now use this law to prove their view that a consecration could take effect even when it is based on a mistake. Beis Shammai said to Beis Hillel, "Do you not agree that when someone made a mistake and called the 9th animal the 10th, and then when the 10th animal passed through, he realized that he had counted wrong and called the 10th animal the 9th, and then when the 11th animal passed through, he called the 11th animal the 10th, that the 9th and 11th animals are also consecrated, even though he called them the 10th by mistake? Since the Torah says they are consecrated, we see that an offering can become consecrated even by mistake." Beis Hillel respond that this is clearly an exception to the rule and cannot be used as proof. Beis Hillel said to them, "No, this is not a proof. Is it the stick that consecrates the animals? Is it really true that these animals are consecrated simply because he mistakenly tapped them with his stick and called them the 10th? What would happen if he made a mistake and placed the stick on the 8th animal or on the 12th animal and called it the 10th? Would he have done anything? Certainly not. The Torah says only that the 9th and 11th animals could become consecrated, not any other ones. This shows then that Beis Shammai are incorrect. And the reason the 9th and 11th animals are holy is not that any animal could be consecrated by mistake. Rather, it is that the same verse that consecrated the 10th animal also consecrates the 9th and 11th animals if they were mistakenly declared the 10th. Since this is a special decree that applies only to these animals, it cannot be applied to any other cases of consecrations made by mistake. In ordinary cases, things do not become consecrated based on a mistake.